Hello, it is I, Bragi, and today I'm here to tell you another of these infamous Dave the Cat stories. And today's story is Dave the Cat and the Labyrinth of Matlock Bath. Does it exist? I don't know, but there are a lot of caves around there. And so, many years ago, 1,000 years ago, when mysteries were mysteries and strange things happened, and we had the times of the Vikings and the Anglo-Saxons, and later, of course, the Anglo-Normans, who we don't particularly like very much. Boo to the Normans, and hurrah for the Vikings and the Saxons. In this time, there lived a magical cat, created in the mind of Eggle. And this cat, he's called Dave the Cat. And he's a fierce cat, a bold and brave cat, a beautiful cat, and a cat with such honour and dignity and all the good morals that a person should have. That's what made Dave magical. Plus he's been on loads of adventures, so he's got loads of magical items and weapons at hand around his cunning body, and he's got a little satchel with things in, which never ends. It's like a TARDIS in his little satchel, little leather bag. And so one day, Dave heard a rumour. He was sitting in a cat's inn, a cat mead hall, where all the cats secretly gather and drink mead. I don't know whether that's true or not, but I like to imagine, you know, if you can have dogs playing poker, I'd imagine you can have cats sitting around drinking mead. And mead is made out of honey and water and a bit of yeast and boiled and let to set. And so there they were, and Dave heard this magical story, or myth. It says, this old wise cat came in, he had like a walking stick. And he came in with a big, walking on hind legs, because cats apparently walk on hind legs in secret. We just don't see it as human beings because we're never looking in the right direction at the right time. And so this old cat came in and he, hello, you come for a bit of mead, he says. He's wobbling in and with his walking stick, his hands are shaking. He's probably got a bit cat arthritis and coming in, oh, let me sit down. One of you little youth cats gets me a nice beaker of mead and I'll tell you a story. And so, one of the cats volunteered and brought this old gentleman cat, with a white beard. All old things have white beards, except women. Old women, they don't. Move on. And so he sat down and, he got the mead and he started telling him about his magical place he heard about, Matlock Bath, which is a wonderful place in Derbyshire. And he said, I've heard a story about this lost treasure of an ancient king. And it is said that this king lived in Matlock Bath. Many years ago, it was his summer, resort in land when he couldn't get to the sea. And he said he built this labyrinth from all the caves. And inside this secret labyrinth cave is a treasure like no man has ever seen before. And well, this got Dave a thinking. He loved a good journey and an adventure. And it's been a while since he'd been on an adventure. And he thought to himself, well, I can't do it on my own. I normally got a few companions, a few pals who come along with me. And so he sat down and he thought, no, I'm going to go and get Eggle, Iric and Bragi, because those three guys are the best and we're going to have such fun. And so that's when the adventure began the very next morning. His first job was to find the imminent Eggle Thorson. Now he heard a rumour that Eggle was currently at a big castle studying some very old books for some other lost treasure Eggle's been looking for. Once he found this old castle in this old haunted wood, he managed to find the old library. And there was, sitting in the chair, Eggle Thorson, with his feet up. He got an old book and a nice warm mug of mead and some nice meat. And he said, oh, hello, chap. How you doing, youth? And Dave said, I've come to get you for an adventure. And Eggle's little ears picked up. And he stood up. An adventure, you say? Oh, yes, I'm up for that. And so Eggle was the first to be recruited on this old adventure of the lost labyrinth of Matlock Bath. Bloody amazing story. You have to keep watching to find out. And then, Eggle says, I've heard Bragi's at this magical forge at the moment making a nice axe. And I know exactly where it is. It's a secret forge. But I can tell you, because I'm a member of the very guild we both belong to, Bragi and I. And so Dave the cat and Eggle, the very next morning, after having some nice mead around this big old castle, and Dave had a look through a few books, but he had a few questions to find out himself. The next morning they got up, stomach full with food, and they set off to this magical forge. And a forge is like a place where you heat up metal and they turn it into magical items. And, they got through this old enchanted wood and, some say in the old days that was where the elves lived, but I don't know about that. Some call them fairies now, but that's another story for another day. The fairies of the dwelling den of trees. They found Bragi, they found me, you know, I was there, I was working away on the anvil. Bash, bash, bong, bong, wallop, wallop, bash, bash, bong, bong, wallop. Making the kind of repetitive noise, the hammer makes, ding, ding, ding. Working away. And Eggle says, you got to come, Bragi, we're on a magical adventure to find the lost labyrinth of Matlock Bath. And I said, I've heard of that. It's not true. And for the next day, they tried to convince me to come along, and it's true, and in the end they did. I never believed it myself, but they convinced me that it must be true, because if Dave is going on an adventure, it must be true. Because Dave is no fool. No, Dave is the smartest cat of all the cats. Some say he could be the king of cats, but yet again, it's another story and another folk tale. We then set off to find Eirik. Now, Eirik was currently working at a secret longhouse for testing axes, and it was a special kind of a Mercia operation by the Vikings to find out which axe is exactly the best. And of course they needed the best man for the job, and Eirik is well known for his axes, you know, man of many axes. He owns many, you know. Some say more than me. Oh, that could be like 12. Anyway, axes. And so, you know, we recruited him then, and we had 4 people on our party. We were like the musketeers of the Viking age without using muskets. We was like the sword-teers or axe-teers, and we was going off. And the first place we went to was another inn, because we heard about this splendid pork roast they've been cooking all week. And you could smell it from leagues away, so we went there to set a plan. And Dave said, well, you know, let's go there, we're going to sit at a table and we'll write some notes, I've got some things to tell you about it. And so we all got there and we sat down, and a maiden came along, you know, you could see her ankles, oh, God, and a bit of a shoulder. God, Lord, talk about showing some flesh. If you tell it's one of those places, all repute. And we had some horns of mead, not mead of horns, dirty mead there, it wasn't very clean, but we drank it nonetheless. And Dave said, well, the first thing we must do is get to Matlock Bath. It was a good 60 leagues away. We was very high up in the Yorkshire Dales at the time, because in those days people would travel a little bit if they wanted to. We set about the plan next day. We're going to walk down this road and go down this way, and there's a few tolls. We could avoid them by going over this river crossing, and then we're going to be there. And then the next stage was to set about looking for that cave. And on the old story which he was told, it is near some old ruins, and Dave knew where these ruins were. Not many people did, but Dave had lived in Matlock Bath before. And so we set off the next day. We got some horses and we rode there rather fast. It took us half a morning. Hey, got rid of the horses, we don't need them no more. Got some coin, more mead for the next day and next night. And then we sat about looking for the ruins. Now Matlock Bath is like a valley, and a load of old longhouses on the hills and the stopes and the little valley bit. And up top there's remains of an old castle. And so we went up there. It is said that once upon a time a mad king lived in this castle, and he kept all sorts of animals. Weird animals you have never seen before. Some even say he had a dragon, but I don't believe it myself. But there you go. And so we found the old ruins, and there was a runic inscription on the wall. And Eggle, being a marvellous intelligent man, he could read them. And it was like a riddle. Go forth and yonder and search around for the place that is above the ground. And if you find it near the roll, you will find it soon, don't droll. Look inside and curse but none. Be careful as you step upon. This very field, this very sight, would lead you to treasure like no sight. No man has the breath before of a treasure seen, 4x4. We was astonished, no idea what all of this meant, but Eggle knew something about the riddle. One of the lines he read, he's heard it before, and he knew where this secret well was, in the location. It said, kind of spelt it in the riddle. So we went north, and sure enough, a few hundred feet away, we walked 10 minutes, we found an old well. And we could climb down with an old rope ladder we found. So we climbed down, and this took us to the very entrance of the old labyrinth. Now for many days we searched. For the first few days we got lost, and we kept on coming back to where we found the entrance. And then Dave, he remembered he had a board of string, so let's get some string out, he said. We'll tie it to this bit of a post. Then if we find the string again, we know we'll double back on ourselves. And so after a while we found this secret chamber. But as soon as we entered it, these massive doors of wood shut, and these undead skeletons started to attack us. Oh dear, oh dear. It was a fight for our lives, all 4 of us fighting these skeletons, 20-fold of them, with old swords and axes, rusty. But in the end, we fought them, and Egil was even more triumph as he fought 5 of them on his own and took them all down in one big swoop of the axe. And all these skeleton heads went bobbing down this old corridor. And Egil says, we've got to go down there because we've got to go down. So we did. We followed the heads of these skeletons rolling down. And we came to another bit of the old labyrinth. And it was like an old maze. And again, Egil this time, he had a bit of rope. And so we tied it off again and we started making our way. And this time we came to a pit. And inside the pit were all these zombies. And the pit started to rise and the zombies too with it. We had a dilemma. We could double back and get to safety, or we could wait and attack these zombies. Well, we found a pile of stones and we started throwing these stones down on these zombies, and we took about half of them out. It was about 30. And then we had between 4 of us fight these 15 zombies. Again, Egil was spectacular. So strong, a big butch man. He got his axe and he chopped off 5 of the zombie heads in one go, leaving 10 between 4 of us. I had 3 on me and Eirik took out 2, and before we knew it, we won again. And then we came to another place. It was like an old wood in a cave. Never seen the like. But we could hear a howling. And this is when Dave told us about the mad werewolf. Said once to be an old warrior, but now a werewolf. And eventually we crept through this old chamber of trees. Magical, it was magical. And the old werewolf jumped out on us. But he saw there was 4 of us and he got frightened and he ran off. Never before have I seen a werewolf so scared. And I thought to myself, well, that could have been quite unlucky if we got assaulted by and attacked by a werewolf. They're quite fierce, but we had swords and Dave had a magical sword on him. And I think the werewolf was too wise. And eventually we came to a massive chamber. And in the middle of the lake, was another kind of a building. So we found an old boat. And it had a few holes in it. We managed to patch the holes with moss. And we just got over the lake in time before it sank. And we got in this room. And in it was the biggest pile of gold you've ever seen. Golden helmets, golden swords, garnets, silver, chains of silver, chains of gold, plates and discs, cups and daggers, sea axes, shields, drinking horns with gold mounts, a suit of golden lamella, the riches of kings. Who this treasure belonged to we never knew, and we could never carry it all out. So we took a few pieces we wanted ourselves, and we knew how to get here again. And from this place we managed to find another way out, a much quicker way out. We did not have to go in a boat again, but we found a secret tunnel. And now and again, when we're short of gold, we can go back, and we have done a few times, me and Dave the cat. And we'd never leave Egil out, and we'd never leave Eirik out, because as Vikings we look after our brothers and our sisters. And if you have liked this story, if you have liked this folktale, which I've literally made up whilst telling you it now, literally, I've made this up on the go, because I can do that. I'm a good storyteller. And Matlock Bath is a true place. And whether there is a labyrinth there, you'd have to search and find out. I would leave that to the urbexes, the urban explorers, and let the myth of the labyrinth of Matlock Bath and the adventures of Dave the cat carry on. If you like this video, I urge you to leave a comment and to like the video. But above all, I ask you to share the video. By sharing our videos, you will really help the channel to grow. Oh yes, I'm going to throw my axe because I can so, and I'll do so, and I will so do so. Too many do's and so's there. Hey! Goodbye.